Taylor Singh stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows of his Manhattan penthouse, a glass of whiskey in hand, surveying the city below like a conqueror surveying his realm. At the age of 35, he had constructed an empire through ruthless business transactions and an unwavering confidence in his ability to succeed at anything. Wealth, influence, and women all came to him with ease. He was accustomed to obtaining precisely what he desired, whenever he desired it. Tonight was no exception. His penthouse was filled with New York's elite, celebrating yet another successful merger that had further enriched Taylor. The champagne flowed abundantly, and the laughter of beautiful women resonated through the marble corridors. Taylor navigated the crowd with practiced grace, accepting congratulations and admiring glances with equal indifference. "Taylor, my friend," a voice pierced through the clamor. Eric White, Taylor's oldest friend and fiercest competitor, approached with a grin that Taylor recognized instantly. That grin signified trouble. Eric was among the few individuals capable of challenging Taylor without repercussions. They had grown up together, competing in everything from academic achievements to business ventures, and had forged a friendship based on mutual respect and relentless rivalry. Taylor acknowledged Eric with a raised glass. "Enjoying the party, as always," Eric replied, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "But I've been contemplating something. You and we've competed in every aspect, haven't we? Business, sports, even women." Taylor smirked. "And I've triumphed in most of those contests." "Most," Eric conceded with a chuckle. "But I have a challenge for you tonight. One that I believe you cannot win." The atmosphere in the room seemed to hush as other guests sensed the rising tension. Taylor placed his glass down, his competitive instincts instantly ignited. "I'm listening." Eric leaned in closer, his voice lowering to a conspiratorial whisper that still reached the nearby crowd. "I bet you couldn't marry a woman who doesn't conform to your usual type. Someone who typically wouldn't catch your attention, and you would need to remain married for 6 months. Taylor's eyebrows lifted. "Is that your challenge? Marriage?" "Not merely any marriage," Eric elaborated, his smile broadening. "A genuine marriage, cohabiting, behaving like a couple, no separate bedrooms, no escaping when things become tough. A complete 6 months. And what do I receive if I succeed?" Taylor inquired, as he had never contemplated the chance of failure. Eric retrieved his phone and displayed a figure that caused even the billionaire to hesitate. $5 million plus bragging rights for the remainder of our lives. The audience around them gasped. Taylor experienced the familiar surge of competition coursing through his veins. $5 million held no financial significance for him, but the challenge, the game, the opportunity to demonstrate once more that he could overcome anything, that was everything. "And if I decline?" Taylor questioned, although he was already aware of the answer. "Then everyone present will know that Taylor King, the man who asserts he can triumph in anything, was intimidated by a mere marriage." Taylor chuckled, a sound that conveyed both amusement and arrogance. "Intimidated? I have never feared anything in my life. You have yourself a deal, Eric. 6 months. I will demonstrate precisely how this game is played." Eric's smile became calculating. "Excellent, because I already have someone in mind. Her name is Maya Brown." Days later, Taylor found himself in an upscale cafe awaiting his initial meeting with Maya Brown. Eric had provided him with a single photograph and a brief description. Confident, independent, employed as a social worker, unimpressed by wealth. The image depicted a woman with warm brown eyes and a sincere smile, fuller figured than the models Taylor typically dated. He had gazed at the picture for precisely 5 seconds before setting his phone aside. To him, this was merely another business transaction, another deal to finalize. When Maya entered the cafe, Taylor instantly observed how she carried herself. There was no uncertainty in her stride, no self-awareness regarding her size, and no evident wish to impress him. She donned a plain gray dress that complemented her figure, with her hair styled in a bun. Upon spotting him, she approached with determination. "You must be Taylor King," Maya stated, offering her hand before he had the chance to rise. "And you must be Maya Brown," Taylor responded, grasping her hand. Her handshake was strong and assured. "Please take a seat." Maya positioned herself in the chair opposite him, her gaze scrutinizing his face with an intensity that made him feel slightly uneasy. Most women regarded him with admiration or desire, but Maya looked at him as if she were perusing a book whose conclusion she already knew. "Let us not squander time on niceties," Maya commenced, placing her hands on the table. "I am aware of the wager. I know Eric challenged you to marry someone who is not your type. I understand you accepted because you cannot resist a challenge. Furthermore, I know you anticipate this to be a straightforward 6-month arrangement where you provide me with money until I conform to your expectations." Taylor leaned back, genuinely astonished for the first time in years. "Eric divulged everything to you." "He is more forthright than you might assume," Maya replied with a subtle smile. "He believed I deserved to be informed of the truth prior to our meeting. He also thought I would decline. But I did not." "Why?" Taylor inquired, his curiosity genuinely piqued. Maya's smile dimmed slightly, replaced by an emotion Taylor found difficult to define, perhaps sadness or resignation. "Let us just say I have my reasons. They are personal and belong to me. You do not need to be privy to them to fulfill your wager." "Fair enough," Taylor conceded, though he felt an unusual frustration at her reticence. He was accustomed to understanding individuals, to uncovering their vulnerabilities and motivations. Maya was already demonstrating herself to be more intricate than he had expected. "So, you're prepared to proceed with this?" 6 months of marriage. Under specific conditions, Maya asserted firmly, "I desire my own space within the home we share. I wish to pursue my work without interruptions. I seek respect, even in the absence of your affection. Once the 6 months conclude, we will part ways amicably. No drama, no complications." Taylor contemplated her conditions. They were fair. In fact, they were simpler than he had anticipated. "Agreed. Is there anything else?" "Yes," Maya responded, her eyes locking onto his with that same piercing intensity. "Do not attempt to change me, Taylor. Do not try to mold me into one of your typical partners. I am who I am, and that will not alter simply because I am wearing your ring." There was something in her tone that caused Taylor to hesitate. Her voice carried strength, yet there was also a trace of vulnerability that he could not fully identify. "I would never consider it," he replied, though even as he uttered those words, he questioned their validity. Their second meeting occurred at Taylor's attorney's office, where they executed the prenuptial agreement and marriage documents. The atmosphere was cold and businesslike, precisely what Taylor preferred. Maya meticulously reviewed each page, posed insightful questions, and signed with a firm hand. No tears, no second thoughts, no romantic illusions about the nature of this arrangement. "We are getting married next week," Taylor informed her as they exited the office. "A small ceremony, merely fulfilling the legal obligations. I have already made all the arrangements." "Naturally, you have," Maya replied, a trace of amusement evident in her tone. "You are accustomed to controlling every situation, aren't you?" "It has served me well thus far," Taylor stated, not concealing his arrogance. Maya halted her stride and turned to confront him. "Taylor, allow me to clarify something. I am not one of your business transactions. I am not a company you can acquire or a rival you can defeat. The next 6 months will impart a lesson you have yet to learn." "And what lesson is that?" Taylor inquired, crossing his arms. "That some things cannot be won," Maya replied softly. "Some things must be earned." The wedding occurred precisely 1 week later in a modest courthouse ceremony. Taylor donned a costly suit. Maya opted for a simple white dress, while Eric stood as their witness, wearing a knowing smile that irked Taylor more than he was willing to acknowledge. The judge declared them husband and wife in under 10 minutes. There was no kiss, no celebration, no joy, just two individuals legally united by a wager and hidden truths. Following the ceremony, Taylor drove Mia to his penthouse. She remained silent during the journey, gazing out the window at the cityscape. Taylor found himself stealing glances at her, attempting to decipher her thoughts. She continued to be a mystery, which frustrated him. "Welcome home," Taylor announced as they entered the penthouse. The space was vast, adorned in a sleek, modern aesthetic with expensive artwork on the walls and designer furnishings throughout. It was a reflection of his success, wealth, and power. Maya traversed the area slowly, absorbing it all. Her expression stayed neutral, unimpressed. "It's very you," she finally remarked. "Is that a compliment?" Taylor inquired. "It's an observation," Maya replied. "Where's my space?" Taylor guided her to a bedroom suite located at the opposite end of the penthouse from his own. It featured its own bathroom, sitting area, and a balcony with a view of the city. He had it furnished by a high-end designer, filled with luxurious furniture and artwork he believed she would appreciate. Maya lingered in the doorway for a long moment before speaking. 6 months, Taylor. Not a day more. 6 months, he concurred. And thus commenced their peculiar cohabitation. The initial weeks of marriage were a lesson in frustration for Taylor King. He had entered this arrangement with complete confidence that he would retain control, that Mia would ultimately yield to his desires like everyone else in his life. He was mistaken. Mia rejected everything he presented. When he offered her expensive jewelry, she graciously declined. When he proposed shopping at designer boutiques, she chuckled and remarked that her attire was perfectly suitable for her. Whenever he organized for them to participate in high society gatherings, she frequently concocted reasons to remain at home. She persisted in her role at the community center where she had been working for many years, departing early each morning and returning in the evening with tales about the families she assisted. "You no longer need to work," Taylor mentioned one morning during breakfast. "I possess more than sufficient funds to support both of us." Maya lifted her gaze from her coffee, her eyes unwavering. "I do not work out of necessity for money, Taylor. I work because it is significant. Because those families require someone who cares. Can you comprehend that?" "I realize that you are complicating this situation unnecessarily," Taylor responded, his irritation escalating. "Good," Maya replied simply, resuming her coffee. However, Taylor began to observe troubling signs. Mia would occasionally forego meals, asserting that she was not hungry. She turned down invitations to lavish restaurants, opting instead for simple meals at home. On multiple occasions, he discovered her seated on her balcony in the evening, appearing fatigued in a manner that seemed to transcend mere tiredness from work. One evening, Taylor returned home early and overheard Maya speaking on the phone in her room. Her door was slightly ajar, and he hesitated in the hallway, aware that he should not eavesdrop, yet unable to restrain himself. "I understand, Mom. I am being cautious," Maya was saying, her tone gentle. "Yes, I am adhering to my medication regimen." "No, he is unaware. There is no need to inform him. It is only for 6 months, and then everything will revert to normal." A chill coursed through Taylor. Medications. What was it that he did not know? He felt an urge to burst into the room and demand explanations, but something restrained him. Maya had made it clear that she cherished her privacy, and despite his increasing curiosity, he found himself honoring that boundary in a manner he had never done before. Their arguments became more frequent and increasingly intense. Taylor's efforts to manage the situation met with Meta's unyielding resistance, and neither party was prepared to concede. "Why won't you allow me to be part of this?" Taylor pressed one evening after Mia had declined yet another invitation to a business gala. "Why do you persist in maintaining these barriers between us?" "Because you wouldn't comprehend," Mia retorted, her eyes shimmering with emotion. "You inhabit a realm where everything is purchasable, where every issue has a resolution if sufficient money is thrown at it. Some matters do not operate that way, Taylor. Some matters simply exist." "Try me," Taylor replied, his tone shifting to one that was nearly imploring. "Perhaps I am not as superficial as you presume." Maya scrutinized his face for an extended moment, and Taylor perceived something in her gaze that resembled regret. "Perhaps you are not," she responded gently. "But that does not alter anything." In spite of the tension, Taylor found himself increasingly attracted to Maya. It was not merely physical attraction, although he was starting to recognize her beauty in ways that astonished him. It was something more profound, something that perplexed and irritated him. She was astute, Fervent about her profession, quick-witted during their verbal exchanges, and entirely unaffected by his typical allure. She regarded him as a human being, not merely a financial resource, and that was both invigorating and daunting. He began to observe her daily habits more closely. She rose early, consistently prepared her own modest breakfast, and retreated to her room most evenings. She seldom requested anything from him, never appeared impressed by his affluence or position, and upheld her autonomy with quiet resolve, yet the signs he had previously noticed became increasingly evident. Maya occasionally gripped the counter when she stood up too abruptly. She sometimes inhaled deeply as if battling lightheadedness. Once, he witnessed her wince and press her hand to her chest, a fleeting expression of pain crossing her features before she regained her composure. "Are you okay?" he had inquired on that occasion. "Fine," she quickly replied. "It's just a muscle cramp." Taylor was skeptical, yet he chose not to press the issue. Not at that moment. 3 months into their arrangement, tensions escalated at a charity gala, where Taylor insisted they attend together. It was crucial for his business image, he argued, and Ma ultimately consented. She donned a simple blue dress she had owned for years, rejecting the designer gown Taylor had sent to her room. Her hair was elegantly styled, and despite his irritation with her obstinacy, Taylor found himself thinking she looked stunning. The gala took place at an opulent hotel, filled with New York's affluent elite. Taylor navigated through the crowd effortlessly, introducing Mia as his wife and engaging in business negotiations amid champagne toasts. Maya remained close yet silent, observing everything with her perceptive eyes. Then Taylor overheard it. A group of women gathered near the bar, their voices piercing through the room. "That's Taylor King's wife. I heard it was some sort of arrangement. She's so large. What could he possibly see in her? Money can't buy good taste, apparently." Their malicious laughter sliced through the ambient noise, and Taylor felt a surge of anger rising within him. However, before he could react, he noticed that Maya had heard them as well. Her expression stayed composed, but he caught a glimpse of pain in her eyes and the slight quiver in her hand as she set her champagne glass down. "Excuse me," Maya said softly, beginning to walk away. Taylor grasped her hand. "No, don't give them that satisfaction." He turned to face the group of women, his demeanor icy and furious. The entire room seemed to feel the change in atmosphere, conversations halting as heads turned to observe. "Ladies," Taylor said, his voice slicing through the silence like a knife. "I couldn't help but overhear your discussion. Allow me to clarify something for everyone present." He drew Maya closer, his arm encircling her waist protectively. "My wife is worth more than everyone in this room combined. She devotes her life to assisting those in genuine need, rather than hosting charity galas to boost our own egos. She possesses more integrity, intelligence, and authentic beauty than any of you could ever aspire to have. Anyone who takes issue with that can leave my presence at once." The room fell into a profound silence. The women who had been gossiping appeared horrified. Maya gazed up at Taylor, her eyes wide with astonishment and something more, something that quickened his heartbeat. "We are leaving," Taylor declared to the room. He grasped Mia's hand and guided her out of the gala, disregarding the whispers and glances that trailed behind them. Once outside beneath the night sky, Mia finally broke the silence. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did," Taylor replied with conviction. "No one speaks about my wife in that manner." "Your wife for 6 months," Mia reminded him gently. Yet her tone was softer than usual. Taylor looked at her, truly looked, and came to a realization that filled him with dread. "Perhaps I no longer want it to be just 6 months." Tears welled in Maya's eyes, but she quickly blinked them away. "Don't utter words you don't mean, Taylor." "I genuinely mean it," he insisted. "Maya, She placed a finger on his lips. "Take me home, Taylor, please." The journey back to the penthouse was filled with silence, heavy with unexpressed thoughts. Taylor frequently stole glances at Mia, attempting to comprehend the sorrow reflected on her face. Something was amiss, something deeper than their arranged marriage, and he was resolute in uncovering what it was. They had scarcely entered the penthouse when it occurred. Maya took 3 steps into the living room and suddenly staggered, her hand reaching for the wall but finding nothing to grasp. Taylor rushed forward, catching her just as her legs gave way. Maya. His voice was laced with panic. Her complexion was pale, her breathing shallow. Maya, stay with me. Look at me. Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused. Taylor, I remained silent, merely breathing. He was already extracting his phone, trembling hands dialing emergency services. I require an ambulance immediately. My wife has collapsed. We are located at the King Tower penthouse. The subsequent 20 minutes felt like an eternity for Taylor. He cradled Maya on the floor, petrified to shift her, yet equally frightened to release her. She fluctuated between consciousness, whispering incomprehensible words. Upon the arrival of the paramedics, they acted swiftly, assessing her vitals and placing her onto a stretcher. I will accompany her, Taylor asserted, trailing behind them into the ambulance. Are you a family member? One paramedic inquired. I am her husband, Taylor replied, realizing it was the first occasion he had uttered those words with genuine meaning. At the hospital, Taylor roamed the waiting area like a trapped animal. He contacted Eric, who arrived within half an hour. He attempted to reach Maya's mother but was unable to locate a number. He felt powerless, ineffective, and terrified in a manner he had never known before. Eventually, a doctor appeared. Mr. King, I am Dr. Grace Lee. I have been attending to your wife. Is she okay? What transpired? Taylor pressed, moving closer to her. Dr. Lee motioned towards a more secluded area of the waiting room. Her demeanor was serious and professional, yet laced with compassion. Your wife is currently stable, but we must discuss her health status. Were you aware that Maya has been facing significant health issues? Taylor felt the ground beneath him shift. What issues? Maya suffers from severe hypertension and early-stage heart disease, exacerbated by her weight, Dr. Lee explained with care. Her heart is under considerable strain. The medications she has been prescribed assist in managing the symptoms, but her condition has been worsening. Worsening? Taylor's voice was scarcely audible. How long has this been occurring? According to her medical records, she was diagnosed approximately 8 months ago, Dr. Lee stated, adding that the condition is manageable with lifestyle modifications, weight loss, dietary changes, consistent exercise, and ongoing medication are essential. However, if left unaddressed or if she maintains her current lifestyle, the outlook is troubling. 8 months ago, prior to their marriage and the wager, Taylor felt as though he had been struck in the stomach. Suddenly, Maya's actions began to make dreadful sense. Her acceptance of the marriage, her insistence on limited time, her secrecy, and her sorrow. Can I see her? Taylor inquired, his voice trembling. She's awake. Room 412. Taylor could not recall how he made his way to the elevator or down the hospital hallway. He only realized that when he opened the door to room 412 and beheld Maya lying in the hospital bed, she appeared small and vulnerable in a manner she had never exhibited before. Something within him shattered entirely. Hi, Maya greeted softly, attempting a faint smile. I suppose the secret is out. Taylor crossed the room and settled into the chair next to her bed. Why didn't you inform me? Maya averted her gaze, tears streaming down her cheeks. What would have been the purpose? You married me for a wager, Taylor. 6 months and it's over. Remember, my health issues were not included in the agreement. That's not, Taylor began, then halted, struggling to articulate his thoughts. Maya, if I had known, you would have what? Maya interjected, her tone laced with bitterness. Felt sympathy for me? Treated me as if I were delicate? I did not want your pity, Taylor. I still do not. It is not pity, Taylor asserted, reaching for her hand. She attempted to withdraw, but he grasped it firmly. Maya, please share the truth. All of it. She remained silent for a lengthy moment, gazing at their intertwined hands. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft and fractured. I was diagnosed 8 months ago. The doctors indicated that without substantial changes, I might have 5 years, or perhaps even less. I tried, Taylor. I genuinely tried. However, losing weight and altering every aspect of my life is more challenging than people realize, especially when one is alone. You are not alone anymore, Taylor responded promptly. Maya let out a sad laugh. I've been alone for 6 months. That was the agreement. When Eric informed me about the wager, I noticed her pause as she wiped her eyes. I thought perhaps I could pretend for 6 months. I could act as if someone cared for me, that I held significance to someone beyond my family. I could feel what it was like to be married, even if it was a facade. I recognize it as sad, but I simply wanted to experience love, even if it was not genuine. Taylor felt tears stinging his own eyes. Maya, you cannot think this way. You have plenty of time ahead. We can resolve this. We can. Maya finally withdrew her hand. There is no we, Taylor. There are 3 more months of a contract, and then we both return to our real lives. Do not complicate this further than it already is. It is already complicated, Taylor said in desperation. Maya, I care for you. These last 3 months, you have changed something within me. I do not wish to walk away in 3 months. I want to assist you. I want to be here for you. You do not mean that, Maya whispered. Yet, Taylor could sense the hope beneath her skepticism. I do, he asserted. Allow me to demonstrate it to you. Let me help you combat this. Maya gazed at him for an extended moment, searching his face for something. Whatever she perceived there caused fresh tears to cascade down her cheeks. Okay, she finally replied, so softly that he almost did not catch it. Okay. Taylor leaned in and placed a gentle kiss on her forehead. We will get through this together. For the first time since their marriage commenced, Maya smiled at him with genuine warmth. Together, Taylor King had encountered numerous challenges in his life, but none had ever felt as crucial as this one. As he sat beside Maya's hospital bed, holding her hand throughout the night, he realized that for the first time in his life, he was fighting for something that held more significance than money, pride, or winning a wager. He was fighting for Maya, and he would not accept defeat. The following morning, Dr. Lee returned with a detailed treatment plan: weight loss through diet and exercise, ongoing medication, regular monitoring, and lifestyle modifications. It will be challenging, she cautioned. However, this represents Mia's best opportunity for a long and healthy life. We will do whatever is necessary, Taylor asserted decisively before Mia had a chance to reply. Dr. Lee beamed. This is precisely the support she requires. Mr. King, your participation in this endeavor will be vital. Research indicates that patients with robust support systems experience significantly higher success rates. After Dr. Lee departed, Taylor faced Maya. We commence today. No objections. Taylor, you need not. Yes, I must. He interjected. Maya, my motivation for this is not rooted in any contract or obligation. It stems from my genuine care for you. Over the past 3 months, you have become the most significant person in my life. I refuse to lose you now. Tears welled in Maya's eyes once more. What has become of you? Where is the arrogant businessman who wed me for a wager? Taylor offered a wistful smile. You transformed me, Maya. You revealed what truly matters. Now, allow me to demonstrate what you signify to me. Upon their return to the penthouse 3 days later, Taylor had already revamped the environment. The kitchen was filled with nutritious food. He had engaged a nutritionist and a personal trainer. He had cleared his calendar for the upcoming weeks, entrusting his business duties to reliable executives. This is excessive, Mia objected, surveying the numerous changes. It is insufficient, Taylor countered. Maya, I will undertake this journey with you. Every step. We are partners now, genuinely and sincerely. Thus commenced their new life together. Taylor arose at 5:30 each morning, a routine he had never willingly embraced before. He and Mia would don workout attire and stroll through Central Park. Initially, Mia struggled to complete even one loop before feeling fatigued and in pain. Taylor grasped her hand, motivated her, and adjusted his pace to align with hers. I cannot do this, Mia panted one morning, pausing to regain her breath. It is too difficult. Yes, you can, Taylor asserted firmly, holding both her hands in his. Look at me, Ma. You are the strongest individual I know. You have confronted every challenge life has presented with both courage and dignity. This is merely another obstacle. This time, however, you do not have to face it by yourself. Maya gazed up at him, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Why are you doing this? Really? Taylor gently cupped her face. Because I love you. I believe I have been falling in love with you since the instant you entered that cafe and called me out on my arrogance. You are brilliant and kind, and you truly see people. When I look at you, I envision my future, and that future requires you to be healthy and by my side. You love me, Maya whispered, as if she could hardly believe the words. I love you, Taylor affirmed. Not the woman I thought I was marrying. Not some temporary arrangement. You, Maya, just as you are, and I will spend every day demonstrating that to you. They stood together in Central Park as the sun rose over the city, and Maya finally leaned up tentatively to kiss him. It was their first genuine kiss, soft, sweet, and filled with promise. When they separated, Taylor noticed hope blossoming in Maya's eyes for the first time. The weeks that followed were challenging. Maya struggled with dietary changes, constant exercise, and the physical and emotional hurdles of transforming her life. There were days when she felt like giving up, days when she cried from frustration and pain. Yet, Taylor was there for all of it. He adjusted his own diet to align with hers, even though he had no need to. He woke up early to work out with her every single day. When she wanted to quit, he reminded her of the reasons she was fighting. When she felt disheartened, he highlighted the small victories, the pounds shed, the distance walked, the enhancements in her energy and mood. They cooked together in the evenings, experimenting with healthy recipes and laughing at their blunders. Taylor discovered that he genuinely enjoyed cooking, relishing the simple domestic activity of preparing meals with Maya. She taught him how to find joy in ordinary moments, how to prioritize experiences over material possessions. For months into their marriage, Taylor took Mia to another charity gala. This occasion was distinct. Maya donned a new dress, one that highlighted the 30 pounds she had shed. More importantly, she exuded confidence. She entered the ballroom with her head held high, Taylor's hand clasped in hers, radiating beauty. Observers noted the same women who had previously gossiped about her now attempted to commend her transformation. Taylor watched as Maya handled their compliments with grace and dignity, neither accepting their insincere praise nor lowering herself to their level. I am proud of you, Taylor whispered as they danced together later that evening. I am proud of myself as well, Mia responded with a sincere smile. But I could not have achieved this without you. We are a team, Taylor affirmed, drawing her closer. Indeed, we are, Mia agreed, resting her head against his chest. However, their journey was not yet complete. As they neared the 6-month milestone of their marriage, coinciding with the anniversary of their contract's conclusion, Maya faced another health scare. Taylor returned home from a meeting to discover Maya collapsed on the bathroom floor, her complexion pale and her breathing labored. Fear seized his heart as he called for an ambulance, holding her and pleading for her to remain with him as he accompanied her to the same hospital where their reality had shifted months earlier. Dr. Lee met him in the waiting area, her demeanor grave. Taylor felt as though his world was tilting, bracing himself for the worst possible news. Mr. King, Dr. Lee began, and Taylor's heart halted. I need to discuss Maya's condition with you. Just tell me, Taylor urged, his voice trembling. Whatever it is, just tell me. Dr. Lee's serious expression suddenly transformed into a smile. She will be fine, Mr. King. In fact, better than fine. Taylor blinked, bewildered. What? Dr. Lee explained that Maya had collapsed due to exhaustion and low blood sugar. Nothing more, she clarified. We conducted thorough tests. Her blood pressure has significantly improved. Her heart function has increased by nearly 30%. She has lost over 50 pounds, and all her markers are progressing positively. Mr. King, whatever strategies you both have implemented, they are effective. If she maintains this trajectory, Maya's outlook is outstanding. Taylor felt his legs weaken and collapsed into a chair. She is going to be all right. She is going to be all right, Dr. Lee affirmed. She must persist with her current lifestyle, continue collaborating with her medical team, and be cautious not to overexert herself. But indeed, she is going to be all right. Taylor buried his face in his hands and sobbed. All the fear, all the stress, all the love he had been carrying for months surged forth. He wept in that hospital waiting area, indifferent to who was watching, solely focused on the fact that Mia was going to survive. When he was finally permitted to see her, Taylor discovered Mia awake and remorseful. "I apologize for alarming you," she said immediately. "I just overexerted myself at the gym today and neglected to eat sufficiently." Taylor crossed the room and kissed her, interrupting her words. Why? He was smiling through his tears. "You are going to be all right," Dr. Lee stated. "You are going to be all right." Mia's eyes widened. "Really? Truly?" Taylor reassured her. "Your numbers are improving. Your heart is stronger. You are overcoming this, Mia." Mia began to cry as well, and Taylor embraced her as they both absorbed the news. After months filled with fear and uncertainty, they finally had hope. "Taylor," Mia said once they had both calmed down. "Our 6 months are concluding next week," Taylor tensed. He had been attempting to avoid thinking about that, about the agreement that had united them. "I am aware." "So, what occurs now?" Maya inquired, searching his expression. Taylor took her hand, intertwining his fingers with hers. "Now you marry me again, this time for real. No wagers, no contracts, no expiration date. Just you and me for the rest of our lives." "Are you proposing to me in a hospital room?" Maya asked, laughing through her tears. "I am proposing to you everywhere, every day, until you agree," Taylor responded. "Maya Brown, you transformed my life. You taught me what truly matters. You demonstrated to me that certain things cannot be purchased or won. They can only be attained through commitment and affection. I love you more than I ever believed it was possible to love anyone. Will you marry me? Truly marry me?" Maya was now openly weeping. "Yes. Yes, Taylor. I will marry you." "Truly marry you?" Taylor leaned in and kissed her once more. This kiss was filled with promise, a future, and love that had been cultivated through struggle and transformation. 6 months after their wedding, which was arranged for business purposes, they held a genuine ceremony. It was a small and intimate affair conducted in the garden of the community center where Maya was employed. Her family was present, his family was present, and Eric served as Taylor's best man, humorously admitting that he had lost the bet but gained. The joy of witnessing his friend evolve into a better man. Maya donned a stunning white dress, and Taylor could not take his eyes off her. Not due to the weight she had lost, but because of the joy emanating from her, the health and happiness that shone from within. "I love you," Taylor whispered as they stood at the altar. "I love you too," Maya responded. When the minister inquired if anyone had objections to the marriage, the entire crowd laughed, as everyone present recognized that this was the most appropriate thing in the world. 6 months prior, Taylor King had made a bet, believing he would triumph by controlling and manipulating a situation. Instead, he lost the bet and gained everything that truly mattered. He discovered love, found purpose, and gained a partner who encouraged him to improve. As he and Maya shared their first dance as a married couple, genuinely married this time, Taylor reflected on the arrogant man he had been just months earlier. That man would never have comprehended this joy, this contentment, this profound and enduring love. "What are you contemplating?" Maya inquired, her head resting on his chest as they swayed to the music. "I am contemplating how I made the best bet of my life," Taylor replied. "Even if I was unaware of it at the time." Maya chuckled. "Do you recall that you lost that wager?" "No," Taylor replied, pulling back to gaze into her eyes. "I won. I won you. I won this life. I won everything that truly matters." "We both won," Maya gently corrected. "We both won," Taylor concurred. As they continued to dance, enveloped by the love of those around them, Taylor King realized that for the first time in his life, he had genuinely triumphed in something significant. Not through deceit, wealth, or arrogance, but through love, dedication, and a readiness to evolve. Over the subsequent months, Maya's health steadily improved. She shed more weight, her heart became stronger, and her doctors were astonished by her transformation. More importantly, she found happiness. Together, she and Taylor constructed a life founded on mutual respect, authentic affection, and shared principles. Taylor also underwent a transformation. He became increasingly engaged in charitable endeavors, especially health-related initiatives. Together, he and Maya established a foundation aimed at assisting individuals in accessing the resources necessary for health transformations, offering free nutritionists, trainers, and medical care to those unable to afford it. 5 years after their wager evolved into a genuine marriage, Taylor and Mia welcomed their first child, a healthy baby girl they named Grace, in honor of the doctor who had played a crucial role in saving Mia's life. Taylor cradled his daughter in his arms and gazed at his wife, who was healthy, radiant, and more beautiful than ever, feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude. "Who would have imagined," Ma said softly, observing him with their baby, "that a foolish bet would lead to all of this?" "It was the best wager I ever made," Taylor responded. "You lost that bet, remember?" Maya teased. "I lost $5 million, Taylor corrected, smiling down at baby Grace's tiny fingers wrapped around his thumb. "But I gained everything else." Maya leaned her head on his shoulder. "Eric still brings it up at every family gathering. He earned that right. He recognized something in both of us that we were unable to see in ourselves." The baby yawned, and Taylor felt his heart swell. This is how his life is now. Not the vacant penthouse, but this tender moment shared with his wife and child. "Do you ever reflect on that initial day at the cafe?" Taylor inquired when you took a seat and revealed that you were aware of everything. "Every day," Maya confessed. "I was filled with fear. I actually consented to marry a stranger because I believed I was dying and yearned for love, even if it was insincere." "It was not insincere," Taylor asserted with conviction. "Perhaps it began that way. However, it ceased to be insincere the instant I truly saw you." "When did it become genuine for you?" Taylor pondered thoughtfully. "The gala. When those women were discussing you and I felt something shatter within me, I realized I could not bear the thought of anyone causing you pain. You were mine to treasure." "For me, it was in the hospital. When I regained consciousness and saw you looking frightened, I had spent 8 months convinced that no one would care if I passed away. But you cared." Grace made a soft sound, and Taylor gently swayed her. "I wish I could return and inform that arrogant fool who accepted Eric's wager about what he was truly signing up for." "What would you say to him?" "That he is about to encounter the woman who will completely upend his worldview. That she will inspire him to improve because she deserves the finest version of him." "That is quite poetic for a merciless businessman," Maya joked. "A former merciless businessman. That man no longer exists. You ended him." "Good. He needed to perish." They stood in a comfortable silence. Outside, New York City maintained its unceasing rhythm. "Taylor, I must share something with you." Maya's tone became serious. His heart raced. "What is wrong? Are you all right?" "I am healthy. More than healthy. I visited Dr. Lee last week. My heart function is entirely normal. All my markers are excellent." She mentioned that if she were unaware of my history, she would never suspect I had health issues. "Given my current trajectory, there is no reason I should not live a completely normal and full lifespan." Taylor felt tears welling in his eyes. He carefully placed Grace in her bassinet and embraced Maya. "You accomplished it. We accomplished it. I could never have achieved this on my own." They embraced one another, reflecting on their shared triumph. 5 years prior, Maya had received a dire prognosis. 5 years ago, Taylor had equated success with monetary gain. Now, they were vibrant, complete, and profoundly in love. "I have a confession to make, Tiger," Taylor stated. "I reimbursed Eric the $5 million from the wager, with interest." Maya's eyes widened in surprise. "When did this happen? Why did you do it?" "Approximately 3 years ago, after Grace was born, I couldn't bear the thought that our marriage began as a financial arrangement. I returned every cent plus an additional 20%. He contributed it to the foundation we established and matched it dollar for dollar." Maya chuckled through her tears. That sounds like Eric, secretly a romantic. He is coming over tomorrow. He wants to discuss something. The following day, Eric arrived with an unusual sense of nervousness. "Thank you for meeting with me," he said as they settled into the living room. "Your family, Eric," Maya replied warmly. "You are always welcome here." Eric took a sip of coffee and then set it down carefully. "I need to discuss the wager. The reality behind why I truly made it." Taylor and Mia exchanged glances. "I thought you initiated it to challenge Taylor," Maya remarked. "That is what I allowed everyone to believe. However, the truth is I made it because I was concerned about Taylor. I observed my best friend transform into someone I no longer recognized. Someone who collected women as if they were trophies and was utterly unhappy. I made the wager to awaken you." Taylor sat back in shock. "You made the wager to assist me. But why specifically Maya?" Taylor inquired. Eric's demeanor became uneasy. "Mia, we met about a year before the wager at a literacy program fundraiser. We spoke for 5 minutes, but that conversation lingered in my mind. You mentioned facing health challenges. A few months later, I encountered your mother at a medical facility. She informed me about your diagnosis and how you were struggling in solitude. She was terrified of losing you." Maya's hand flew to her mouth. "My mother was aware, she was aware that I intended to introduce you to Taylor. She felt a sense of urgency. She noticed you gradually losing hope and wished for you to have a reason to continue fighting." Anger began to rise within Taylor. "So, this was merely a form of manipulation?" "Yes," Eric confessed. "And I do not regret it. I took a risk, believing that if I brought you two together, something might ignite. I was correct. But what if you had been mistaken?" Maya questioned. "I had a contingency plan. If Taylor had treated you poorly, I would have terminated it and covered your medical expenses myself. I was always observing, but from our very first encounter, I noticed a shift in Taylor's gaze." Taylor approached the window. "You played God with our lives, Eric." "I did, and I would do it again. Consider your life now in comparison to 5 years ago. Honestly, tell me that you wish I had not made that wager." Taylor could not refute the reality. "I do not wish that. However, you should have informed us when. There was never an appropriate moment, and I was fearful. Fearful that you would despise me." "Why reveal it now?" Maya inquired. Eric's demeanor softened because I have met someone. Rachel, she is an educator. She is compassionate and genuine and challenges me on my shortcomings. For the first time, I am frightened because I genuinely care. I want to learn how you overcame your fear of vulnerability." Maya approached Eric. "What you did was manipulative and deceitful, yet it may have also saved my life. I am angry, grateful, and perplexed, but I comprehend your reasoning." "The truth is always preferable to manipulation," Taylor remarked. "If you have feelings for Rachel, be honest with her. Do not attempt to control the situation. Just be truthful." "That is frightening. Love is indeed frightening," Maya concurred. "However, it is also worthwhile. Even if that individual discovers you through a deceitful wager," Eric inquired. "Even so," Taylor affirmed, "but there shall be no more secrets. If you are part of our lives, particularly Grace's life, you must vow to us honesty." "I promise, and I apologize. Please stay for dinner. Share with us about Rachel. Let us begin anew with transparency." Later that night, after Eric departed and Grace had fallen asleep, Taylor and Mia found themselves on their balcony, gazing at the city lights. "Are you upset?" Mia questioned regarding Eric's actions. "I was, and I still am, but I also feel thankful. Had he not made that wager, I would never have met you. I would still be that hollow, arrogant individual. And perhaps I wouldn't be here at all. I was on the verge of giving up, Taylor. We rescued each other." "Indeed, we did. And now, perhaps we can assist Eric in saving himself." They sat in a comfortable silence, their hands intertwined. Grace made a soft sound through the monitor before settling back into slumber. "You know what I realized today?" Taylor remarked, "I no longer care about how we began. What we possess now is genuine. What we have constructed together is authentic. The past is merely history." Maya squeezed his hand. "That is quite insightful for a former arrogant billionaire. I learned from the finest." They remained on the balcony, discussing everything and nothing, making plans and dreaming about the years ahead. When they finally entered, Taylor paused at the door of Grace's nursery, observing his daughter as she slept. 5 years prior, he had accepted a wager, believing it to be just another game to win. It had not been a game. It had been destiny cloaked in manipulation. He had gambled on controlling a situation and lost grip on everything. He had wagered on preserving his arrogance and discovered humility instead. He had bet on acquiring wealth and lost his heart entirely. Yet, in that loss, he had gained everything that truly mattered. Maya appeared beside him, wrapping her arm around his waist. Together, they watched their daughter breathe. "No regrets," Mia whispered. "Not a single one." And he truly meant it. Every manipulated moment, every painful revelation, every health scare, every transformation, he would willingly repeat it all if it led him to this moment. The wager had altered everything. Taylor King, the individual who once believed he could triumph in any endeavor, had ultimately grasped the most crucial lesson. Occasionally, the greatest victories arise from complete surrender. He followed Maya to bed, prepared to awaken the next day and persist in constructing the life they had strived to build. A life founded on honesty, love, and transformation, a life that began with a wager but evolved into something far greater, encompassing all that truly mattered. Therefore, I pose this question to you. Would you accept a wager like this if it meant discovering true love? Or was Eric misguided in manipulating their lives, even if the outcome was perfect? Leave surrender in the comments if you believe that sometimes losing is the most significant victory of all. And before you leave, if this narrative resonated with you, please hit the like button. It assists us in delivering more poignant stories like this one. Not subscribed yet? What are you waiting for? Subscribe now and enable notifications so you never miss our next heartwarming tale. Lastly,